can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. I disagree with the thesis.
Why?
First read the thesis.
Yes. Okay, the author narrates this short story using plenty of poetic vocabulary to describe feelings and thoughts in order to intentionally embellish the lack of complexity in the plot. I disagree because I think that this poetic vocabulary is a characteristic of of the author, and this is not a way to embellish the lack of complexity, because the text is embellished enough, and you can give it the complexity that you want to, because it's an open to interpretation text, I think.
Taking what you said into account, I read in some forums that supposedly this is the way that he tends to write. So he tends to say a lot of words without saying so much. And maybe that's because he felt like he needed to make it a little bit more poetic. So he wasn't saying, oh, the sky is blue, but he was saying it like the sky is the color of water and whatever, trying to be really poetic. So he wasn't so straightforward, but he wasn't so messy also. So he was kind of in the middle.
Yeah. I read that the author tries to use this vocabulary because not all the people have the ability to read this kind of experience, because he tries to speak through words. So if you want to read something about him, you should read it when you are older than you are now.
Taking into account what Ruben and Claudio said, I think that this vocabulary is used according to the date of publishment that the book had, like it was in the late 90s. And I think that the plot itself in those times was pretty heavy. Talking about a relationship between two married people, had to be said in poetic words in order not to just say it straightforward. That's what I believe.
So maybe it wasn't so harsh.
Yeah, it wasn't harsh. That's what I think. That's why I think the author chose those poetic words just to establish the plot and then the sense of the story.
Yeah, but in my opinion, I agree with the thesis, because I was reading about the author, and that is like the author's style to write, because all his books or stories have the same style. I mean, his abilities to write something is, as Claudio said, he used so much words, but in the end he is not saying too much information, so he tried to describe, I don't know, the feelings or the places where the things are happening, but in the end, there's no so much information relevant.
But do you think that he using that language means that maybe he thought that the story was not complex enough, so he wanted to make it a little bit more appealing for the reader?
Yes, because actually the story is not that. What's the word?
Complex.
Complex, because it's very short, and if you think that if you remember all the things that happen in the story, you could I don't know, remember, or you can picture the story in your head very fast, and I don't know, it's not that long as when you read it.
Well, I see your point, and I also would like to say that I think it's complex enough, but not for the today's reader, because we tend to live in another culture, we have another thoughts. But in those times, it was different. Talking about this kind of relationship was really harsh, and if you say that straightforward, in those times you could get killed, I think. What do you think?
I understand your point, but I think that it's complex enough because all of the details that the author gives.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I think that you can imagine a picture of the story, but you need a lot of abilities to do this kind of picture, because he gives a lot of details. So it is very complex to do that in
Yeah,
those
but-
times.
I mean the story. I mean I don't know how to explain it, but the story could be very short, and if you use the no, but
I think I see your point,
Yeah.
because you said that the story like doesn't really have a finish, like it's open, so it's not that like a complete plot sort of. So maybe, well, I see Maya's point, but I agree more with Malcolm, because at the time that sort of story was like taboo, and you wouldn't really do that, you wouldn't really talk about that. And maybe the language that he uses is not to make up for a lack of complexity, but rather for people to not feel so maybe afraid or scared or any sort of feeling like that when reading it. And maybe that same language makes us feel like now like it's not that much of an impressive story, because we're used to a different society where cheating on your partner is really easy to find.
What do you want?
But
yes.
the idea of this thesis is, if we think or not that the author narrates this short story in this way, with this poetic vocabulary to cover the lack of complexity. I take your words and yours, and I keep saying that the story is it's complex enough, but everyone has something special that makes everything, and I don't know, every writer has something that has
So his own style.
has their own styles, and it is the way that this author wrote this story, and for that reason I don't really think that he used this poetic vocabulary to intentionally embellish the lack of complexity.
I agree with Ruben, because I don't think that he's covering something.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But no, he's not covering something. And he is adding new things.
But I think he's. I see what you're saying, and I think the same. I disagree with the statement because he's not like trying to embellish something. He's trying to hide what is taboo in those times, which is cheating.
He's just giving us something to think more in a deeper way, because as I told you, this text is open to interpretation. It has no specific final and specific end. For that reason, he used this
Technique.
this technique, this vocabulary.
And also, I don't think that the story lacks complexity in its plot. You get maybe a short introduction about the characters, but then with that short introduction, you can guess what their lives were like before the story began. And I don't think that the language itself is trying to cover or make up for lack of anything, but rather more either for it's just the way he wrote all of his plays or stories, or maybe it's just that, as we mentioned before, that he was trying to make it a little bit smoother for the reader to understand without being uncomfortable with the kind of topic that it's that the story is about. What do you think?
Yes, I'm seeing your point, but I think it's not. I mean, maybe the thesis is not that right, but it's not the fact of the lack of something. I think it's just that he's trying to add new things to getting the story bigger, or I don't know, but I think it's.
Do you agree with this statement?
Because what the thesis says is that he was trying to make it prettier,
Yeah,
prettier. So you
Yes.
Because the plot lacks of complexity. Do you agree with that?
Not now, but
That's better. So we're done. Does anyone want to say anything else?
So to conclude,
Yeah, we disagree with the statement.
we disagree with this thing because we think that the story is complex enough.
Yes.
Enough. The author is not trying to cover anything because his way to write his stories is always like this. If you compare this story with another that he has or he has written, so, they are always follow the same line.
and we also have to consider that it's really old. So maybe
Yeah.
at the time, being poetic was really normal, and maybe for us it's not that common to see now. So maybe that's why some people may say that, oh, he was just trying to make it like beautiful, and so we didn't see the lack of this or that. Maybe it's just the norm.
Like Marco said, it is a very complex plot for that time.
I think we have to think about those times. So we're done.
Okay. Thank you.